Hey folks, Quilly18 here, and welcome back to some more Let's Play Aurora 4X. So, this time, I promise for sure, we are going to be designing a battle fleet of missile ships. So we talked about this little spreadsheet here last time, which is my sort of plan for what our battle fleet will look like, and we are going to start to design this. Now, the first thing we're going to do is start to design our sensors, I think, as opposed to our missiles themselves. Yeah, we're going to wait. Actually, we need to wait until this finishes. Let's go ahead and 5 days we'll complete the EM sensor sensitivity. Okay, the thermal sensor sensitivity doesn't matter as much. We're not going to design our missile until this one happens. Let me actually just go ahead and go forward an extra couple of ticks for the missile research to finish. There we go. Reload rate, we can wait on that. So, we need to start working on our sensors. Now, we talked about the fact that our sensors, our active sensors, are all going to be on this giant ship over here, this sensor command ship. And so with that, I'm going to be comfortable, literally, I'm going to make the biggest possible sensor. I'm just going to make a ginormous sensor over here. It is 50 hull strength, which means this is going to be a 2,500 ton sensor by itself. It is a monster. I might actually shrink it, especially since our space budget is somewhere. That's interesting to consider, actually. My budget for space for these ships, again, I'm looking to do something that may be in the 5,000 or 6,000 ton range. This ship's gonna need two sensors, one to detect ships and one to detect missiles at a very long range. And it's gonna share those detections with the entire task group. So our engine is 1,200 tons. If these sensors are 2,500 each, that's 5,000 tons worth of sensors. We're looking at 6,200 tons just for our two sensors and the engine. That doesn't include the fuel tank, the bridge, etc., 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 as well as additional armor. Just out of curiosity, what kind of range can we get here? Let's say we want to shrink the resolution down to, again, about 2,500, which to me is about as small as a conventional ship might be. You can design sort of like, what do people call them, like fast attack crafts at about 1,000, and certainly fighters can get lower than that. But I think it might not be a terrible idea to sort of target this. This would give us a sensor range of 500 million kilometers. Yeah, that's okay. You know what? The missile sensor could probably be smaller. But 500 million, like, I like that. That certainly doesn't let us scan the entire solar system, but it will give us a pretty decent range. We could research more EM sensitivity, which would give us a further boost. Just out of curiosity, how far are we on the tech here? EM sensitivity is only 8,000 for the next one. It probably wouldn't be unreasonable to research. It'll give us a fair bit more range, or allow us to make things a little bit cheaper. But at some point, we got to start designing our ships. You know what? I'm going to bite the bullet. This is going to be the technology I use for this. That's going to be perfectly fine. I'm going to shrink the sensor size to maybe about 40. There we go. We still have about a 500 million kilometer range, somewhere around there. We could get more range if we were just scanning for bigger ships, but I think that's about as small as I'm content with. I'm not too worried about people using electronic weapons to destroy my weapons, or my sensors at this point, so we're going to go and stick with that. Everything else has just been set to the best. Biggest strength, highest sensitivity. I think that's going to be okay. I need a name for our sensor company. It's going to be Valina DG Electronics is going to be the name of our company for our sensors. And we've got this. I think I'm going to rename this to Active Ship Sensor, and the other one will be Active Missile Sensor. It'll be really clear what's going on here. So I'm going to create this variant. Then what I'm going to do is change the minimum resolution to 1. So this gives us a missile detection range of 67 million kilometers. And I think I'm going to do that. This ship's only job is to lug around giant sensors. So we're going to do that. It's slightly smaller than max size because it's only a 40-ton sensor, or 40 hull size sensor as opposed to a 50. But that's going to be okay. So Valina Sensor Group is going to do both of those things. We could, at this time, also design the fire control. So, what was the range for the missile sensors? Well, actually, we're not going to design the fire control until we know what kind of a range we might have for our anti-missiles. And actually, I guess that would be the same thing. Our missile sensors, it doesn't make sense for our missile sensors to have a range that goes far beyond the range of our actual missiles themselves. So we should probably wait for that. I mean, the wide area sensors, it makes perfect sense to have max range, but let's hold off on everything else. We've got our missile agility. I think we are okay. Yeah, the missile launcher reload rate, we're not worried about that. So let's go ahead and design our missile. Actually, we're first going to design our missile engine. We're actually going to design a pair of missile engines. So for our missiles, we have to figure out what size of a missile that we are going to build. So let me bring up the spreadsheet again, because on the second sheet, we can talk about missile damage. So as I said, I'm targeting either a size 5 or a size 6 for my anti-ship missiles. It's a very reasonable size for a variety of reasons. And in that, what I think I would like to do is budget something like, so out of a size 5, I would like to budget 2 size-ish, somewhere around there, for my damage, and 2-ish size for the engine, and that will leave 1 or 2-ish for agility and fuel. So one thing that's important at this point is, if I were to design a missile, how much damage would it do? Right now my warhead strength per missile size is 4. So for every missile size dedicated to the warhead, I will do 4 damage. And if we look, there's a sort of a sweet spot for missile damage, because the shape that the missile does damage, I talked about this before, looks kind of like this depending on the size. This is the amount of damage that you do. So if you were doing, say, 1 damage, then you would do 1 box of damage into the armor. If you do 2 damage, you do 2 side by side. 3 damage does 3 side by side. And at 4, and actually at every square number, you go to the next row. So this would penetrate the second row of armor, which is really nice. And that's why 9 is the other sort of optimal thing, because that's when you hit the third layer of armor, which is pretty good. 10 would be a stupid size, because all it does is splash a little bit of extra damage on the outside, and who cares about that? 16 is the next square. That would penetrate the 4th layer. But 12 is interesting, and in fact, 6 would be another halfway decent one, because at 6, just like at 12, what it does is this is the point at which it adds an extra box on your deepest penetration level. So 9 is good, because that's where you hit the 3rd level. 10 is dumb. 12 is okay, though, because that puts a second box on that 3rd level, which is nice. And then 16 is nice. So this is in warhead damage. So the actual size, well, this would be 4 MSP. With our current warhead technology, this would be 4 MSP. That's a lot. That would be a lot of space having to be allocated to the warhead, and probably above our budget. 12 is interesting because that would be 3 MSP, right? So if we decide to do a size 6 missile, then we can do something like warhead 3 MSP. So 3 could be used for that. Engine 2 MSP, and then we have 1 MSP for fuel/agility. That's not bad. Alternatively, the 9, so for the 9 you'd need a warhead of what, 2.25 MSP? So then I guess you could have 2 MSP for the engine, and then 0.75 for the fuel/agility, which is a pretty good sort of like balance between these things. So this one would actually be quite a bit faster, assuming that we use, you know, the 2 MSP engine, because this would be faster because this is a lighter missile. This is a size 5 missile, but potentially with the same engine budget. So this would be a faster missile. Faster missiles are, they have more accuracy, because speed equals accuracy. In addition, a lighter missile often will have more range, but that's mostly going to come down to what happens to the fuel between these 2 variants. So, I don't know. I think both designs are pretty solid here. So what we're going to do is we're going to assume that we're good with a size 2 engine. So at this point, we're going to just design our missile engine, and we're going to plan on a size 2 missile engine. This is for our anti-ship missiles. Now, you can build a tiny little engine and just add a lot to the missiles, but it's the same rule with fuel efficiency as with your regular engines. So by designing a size 2 engine, we get considerably more fuel efficiency than if we built a tiny engine. Therefore, we'll have bigger range with our missiles over here. We can tweak the engine power. We can bring it down to give us considerably more range, or we can bring it up to give us considerably more speed. I think with our anti-ship missiles, I'm just going to leave it at the ×1. For our anti-missile missiles, we might go and crank that up. Fuel consumption, that technology affects our missiles as well, which is nice. We have to give it a company name. I'm going to use the... who was I using for the other research project there? If I check Power and Propulsion, what company name did I use for my engines? Oh, I guess they're already designed. Derp derp. It's Aurora Magnetics Inc. Let me just put it aside so I can keep an eye on that. So, Aurora Magnetics Inc. is going to be the same company that does the drive for our missiles. This is a very weak drive at only 1.6 EP, but missiles are very light, so that's going to still result in a relatively peppy missile. So we're going to create this project. And I'm going to create another one of these that is smaller. So we need anti-missile missiles as well. For anti-missile missiles, which is fun to say, anti-missile missiles, you're only ever looking for 1 damage. Technically, you can armor up missiles, but that's pretty unusual and not going to be an issue. So our anti-ship missiles, or sorry, our anti-missile missiles over here, need 1 point of damage. Since we get 4 damage per MSP, that means our warhead is going to be 0.25 MST warhead. Which leaves 0.75 for fuel and agility and all those things. I think this will be a relatively rapid missile because it should be pretty light. I don't think we're going to need much agility to get good to hit. And fuel, we need like 0.01 fuel, like very, very little. So I think what I'm going to do is commit a 0.5 MSP engine. That'll leave 0.25 for fuel and agility, which I think will be lots for our anti-missile missile. So let's design an engine of size 0.5. We actually may even be tempted to go even smaller than that, but let's do this. Oh, and here's the other question. What do we do about engine power? For anti-missiles, the range isn't quite as critical because it's actually quite hard to detect enemy missiles from a very, very long range. So you don't tend to need a whole lot of distance, but speed makes a big difference. And I think what I'm going to do is let's go to like ×2. So we're going to double on the engine power, which is going to consume 5 times as much fuel. So this is cutting back on our range pretty dramatically. But there's going to be really fast little anti-missile missile engines. Okay, so I'm going to create this project. Excellent. Then we have to actually research those. So do we have any power and propulsion going on right now? No. So let me go ahead and remove some labs from both these projects. Go power and propulsion, and we're going to research our engines, both of which are going to be pretty quick. So Laura, you're going to do that one first, and then I'm going to click here and click there, and we're going to queue up the second engine job. As soon as those are done, oh, Vesta has no more duranium. That's one engine. Let me just skip to the second engine being done. Oh, actually, I think both did finish. So wasted a little bit of production there, or science there from our research labs. Let me hold off before I do that. Let's go and see about designing our missiles. So first we're going to design our anti-ship missile. So we have 2, oh, did I not, I don't think I remembered to obsolete absolutely all the things. This magazine should probably be obsoleted. And yeah, these old Coriolis and Light Giver engines are also obsolete. Is there anything else? Oh, these missiles are totally obsolete. Removed. Or those are missile launchers, which, yeah, I'm still okay with that. And these missiles certainly as well. I just don't want them to show up in any other lists and confusing me. Okay, good. Missile design. So we have our 2 engines. This one here is twice as powerful as that one, but it's considerably bigger. It's also much more fuel efficient. So it's a little bit, it's twice as powerful. It's like 5 times more fuel efficient, but it's literally 4 times the size. So we're going to design our anti-ship missile first. So this is with our bigger engine. It's got a size of 2. And with a warhead, if we did something like a warhead of 3, which gives us a value of 12, and what kind of range are we looking at here? This would be a range of 3.5 billion kilometers. That's nuts. Yeah, 3.5 billion kilometer range. Are our sensors even, like, in that area? I guess we have to research those sensors. I can't remember what we were looking at here. We were doing this with, like, a size 40. So, 500 million kilometers is the earliest we're going to start detecting ships. So this range is nuts. So what I can do is I can bring down the fuel capacity. Even that's too much. 0.5. There we go. So this range is slightly less than the detection range of spotting ships, which is fine. because we might not be able to spot ships quite as quickly as we want, or, you know, if ships are moving towards us or whatever. This is pretty reasonable. That leaves us with 0.95 excess space, which I guess I could just dedicate to agility. Now, there's a diminishing return to some certain points. So this is with 9.5. If I just go 0.9... Oh, actually, we are getting more accuracy even with this. So with ships that are going to go roughly the same speed as we're looking at, we're going to have, weirdly, a better chance to hit this guy than this guy. I don't know why that is. Why don't you bring this down to like 0.7? No. Oh, it's only going at 5,000 kilometers. You know what? This engine's not powerful enough. I'm not happy with this. Obviously, our range is through the roof. We can afford to design an engine that is less fuel efficient and just much, much faster, which will give us more accuracy. It'll be better. Okay, so let's hold off. We're going to have to redesign the engine that we're going to use for our anti-ship missiles. Or what I could do is use like 4 of these, but that would be nuts. You get a lot more speed though. Check it out, and our accuracy goes up like crazy because of reasonable speed. I don't want to use 4 of these. I would rather have one engine that's 4 times as big. Right, so we'll just redesign the anti-ship one. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to say, first, we've made a mistake. Our missile engine's here. We're going to obsolete the Aurora Magnetics Inc., the size 2. We're going to design a new variant. And in fact, I'm not worried at all about going maximum engine power over here. Absolutely. And this is going to be size 2. I still think size 2 is a nice sweet spot for us. Although, it's just going to be a 3. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Size 2. Because we could go some other weird number to make the math work out, depending on how it goes, but I think we'll be okay with this. So this is considerably more powerful, this one here. It's 4 EP as opposed to 1.6. So it's more than twice as powerful, which is good. And then Aurora Magnetics Inc. Create. It's 200 research points to research, but that's going to be fine. So go to Power and Propulsion. Lara. Research this. Create. And there we go. So, back to designing our missile. So we're going to again start with the anti-ship missile. So we've got this engine over here. We've got one. It's going to have a warhead of size 3. And it's going to have a fuel capacity of... our range is considerably shorter than before, because of our fuel efficiency. But we could do like something like that. And then 0.5. Look at like our accuracy is so much better, even though we don't have any agility right now. But if we went something like this, half a unit of fuel, half a unit of agility, ending up with a missile size of 6, we'd have a range of just over 300 million kilometers. The speed of our missile would be 13,000 kilometers a second. Not only does that give us more accuracy, it also makes it much, much, much harder for enemy missiles to shoot us down, because we're going so damn fast. Yeah, I'm really, really, really happy with this. So we're going to need a different manufacturer for the missile itself. It's going to be the... it doesn't have a spot for a manufacturing name. Let me call this something like 6 ASM, size 6 anti-ship missile. Just so that it's sorted. I don't know, I guess sorting doesn't matter. But this is going to be from Lodrian Arms Inc. Size 6 anti-ship missile. Create. Now we're going to design our anti-missile missile. So our smaller engine. The warhead size just has to be 0.25 over here to do 1 point of damage. We're going to bring down the fuel to a very tiny amount, because we can only detect them from so far away. Let's do something like this. So we're going to have a 20 million kilometer range with our anti-missile missiles, which is still lots. And then 0.24 for our agility. So we know that the missiles we're going to attack are probably going to be somewhere around here in like the 10 kilometer a second range. So that's the number we're really caring about. We actually have a fair decent amount of agility there. So 26 million kilometer range to be able to shoot down other missiles. Honestly, we probably can't detect them that far. We could probably trim our fuel capacity down a little bit more to shrink our range that much. But, I mean, we're not saving that much to transfer over to agility or anything like that. So I think this is fine. The missile range on these guys is going to be overkill. We'll use a tiny bit more fuel for each one of these than we have to. But I'm not too concerned. So that was the Lodrian Arms Inc. 1 AMM, size 1 anti-missile missile. Okay, create this project. I'm very happy with that. So we have a size 6 anti-ship missile, a size 1 anti-missile missile. We will have to design a new missile launcher over here. Oh, we don't have the faster reload tech yet. So you know what? We're going to hold off on that a wee bit longer. I think it is in the queue. Yeah, it's right there. But in addition to that, so after you research that, let me throw some extra labs at you. It's not going to shrink the time down that much, but that's okay. After you do that, you'll also need to research our Lodrian Arms missiles. Queue that up. Queue that up. And I mean, we might want to get some more launcher tech before we finish. In particular, the feed system efficiency is relatively cheap to research and will improve the amount of space that we have to dedicate to those, which I kind of like. Okay, we still have an extra couple of labs. Let's go ahead to our sensors, because actually our sensor person will need to research our actual new sensor. Wow, those are hugely expensive projects. They're massive sensors. These are like insanely big, super long range. Oh, we don't want to do the missile sensor yet, because we want to tie the size of the missile sensor to the actual range of our anti-missile missiles. Which was what, 300 million kilometers? So with that in mind, or is it 30 million kilometers? Is that really where we were sitting? Okay, 26 million kilometers. So we can design our anti-missile sensor to be able to detect at around that range, or a little bit further. So you can see the range over here grow. So if we get our sensor to about size 25, this will be able to detect those missiles from further away. I might want to go up to a size 30 to be able to see them from even that much further, just so that... Oh, wait, no, I got to think about this bit. Right, that's a size 50 object, but these missiles, these are the size we're talking about here. Okay. Even with the largest sensor, it looks like 9 million kilometers is our max detection range for our missiles. To spot enemy missiles. Still, that's what I want to do. I do want an insane sensor for that. So I suppose what we can do is we've got one designed at size 40, which is probably going to be fine. So yeah, our actual missiles have way overkill range, but that's okay. So yeah, that'll be okay. And then we need a matching fire control. So we can spot enemy missiles at around 7 million kilometers. So we need a fire control that is roughly in that range as well. Did I say 7 million kilometers? So we'll do something like this. There we go. So yeah, our missile is over-designed. There we go. There we go. Now this is to fire at enemy missiles. We also need one to fire at enemy ships. I don't remember the range of these missiles. I'm going to have to finish the research on them to be able to spot it. Ah, we've scraped a ship, or scrapped a ship. We can recover some bits from them, which is nice. Last time I did this, I had a little notepad to keep track of these numbers. Okay, we completed our missile research, so now I can verify exactly what they're supposed to be. Missiles. Oh, did we actually not start the second one? Okay, so hold on. No, not refresh. Just skip again. It's the range of the big one I care about. There we go. So, check the tech. The big one's range is 300 million kilometers. So we want fire control that's a little bit beyond that. In fact, if we can get about 400 for the fire control, that would be really nice, just because of there's things people can do to reduce our range with their fire control. So we're going to be targeting ships in this sort of area, and we want to be able to hit about 400 million kilometers. So right around here, size 12 for our missile fire control is going to give us fire control that is nicely beyond the range of our actual missiles, which is great. And we need refresh tech. It's our actual active sensor technology. Valena DG. That's our sensor technology. Electronics, missile fire control. Did I remember to name the variant for our anti-missile stuff? Actually, did I even make a fire control for that? No, I didn't. I don't think. So missile fire control for our teeny tiny little missiles. It's got a range of, we need it a little bit bigger than that. There we go. Create. So let's queue up the research. So the Valena active ship sensor, because right now with our sensors person, we're doing thermal, passive thermal sensors, which we do want to finish. And then after that, George Jackson, I'm going to cancel your fire control speed and your beam fire control range, which is very good. You're going to start working on the active ship sensor, and then you're going to work on the, so that's the active ship sensor, then there's the active missile sensor, which we're going to queue up, and then the 2 fire controls. This is a lot of research over here. We're going to have to give good old George a lot more labs. But we'll let Ethan finish some of his work too. That's going to be perfectly fine. But those are definitely the priorities, is all that kind of stuff. All right, let's advance like 30 days at a time, because it's going to take a little bit before some of this gets finished. There you go. Actually, maybe I should bring it down. So George Jackson is now working on our actual scanners. Unrest, unrest, unrest. Meanwhile, how's our terraforming? Mars, how you looking there, buddy? Closing in on 0.1 atmosphere of oxygen. Excellent. Finish the magazine feed systems. Oh, and we have a bunch of inactive labs. I didn't realize you didn't have anything queued up. Let's give George his max. There's a diminishing return, but I want to burn through this as quickly as possible. I don't know if we have anything else that was left here. We could go for more reload rate. That's probably kind of reasonable for working on our missile launcher. Actually, I would like that. Ethan, you only have 2 labs for now, but get started on that. 21st of October, so 30 days. And 5. And another 5-day cycle. Okay, working on the next level of tech. Okay, just going 30-day chunks. It's fine. And I want to design the missile ships first, actually. Corundium and Sinope is gone, or Sinope. But we're going to need our fire control systems to be able to do that. Okay, which they're starting on that. The sensors are all done. The sensors were the more costly bits. So now we should be perfectly fine. Civilian mining on Whipple has expanded. Good for them. Yeah. We'll get some military protection soon. Don't worry about it. The moon, they're always paranoid about this stuff. Okay, missile fire control system, but we need one more. Well, actually, that's the big one. Oh, no, we had a ton of inactive labs. Oh, poop. Okay, we may have missed something along the way. But so far we seem... Oh, there's the other missile fire control system. George Jackson. Get started on that using all 55 labs that you can work. But we can actually start designing our... Oh, my design window's over here. The other thing is, did we ever build our dead meat? Hang on. It has to be a naval ship. So can you retool for the dead meat, please? Set activity. All right, good. Now, design a ship. Where's my spreadsheet? My spreadsheet is over here. So what we're going to design first off here is the... we're actually going to design the Edo first. The Edo is the thing that actually fires our missiles. It's not actually going to be able to fire it at anything because it doesn't have any sensors, although technically the Earth has a bit of sensors, so it might be okay. We're going to rename you the Edo 89, and you are going to be called simply a destroyer over here for us. Design view. You're going to get the military engine. You are going to get the... Should have named these a little clearer. You're going to get this fire control system. This is the fire control that is designed to fire at enemy ships. What's the size of this thing? 12. Yeah, that's not bad at all. And then, oh, we need missile launchers. Silly me. Actually, we've designed our missiles. The other thing we can do is over on Earth, you should start producing missiles for me. Start producing these. We're going to go, I don't know, build like 100 of these guys. Should probably need a lot more than that. And then build 100 of the anti-missile missiles as well. And then we'll figure out what we're going to do after that. Wow, that's going to take 3 years to complete this. That's a fairly heavy order that we put in here. I guess what I could do is actually split these 50-50. Modify. And modify. Whoops. That way they'll build side by side, which is going to be good. Okay. Missile launcher. Did we get the reload rate too? Yeah, we did. Okay, so we're going to be able to fire missiles slightly faster every 15 seconds, which ain't bad. Now, rate of fire is not 100% critical with missile fire because CIWS can fire once every 5 seconds, so you're not going to like outpace that, and you're probably not going to outpace the anti-missile systems either, because the smaller a system is, and we can see here going from size 1 to size 6, which is going to slow down our fire rate. So the anti-missile systems will always fire faster than we do. On the other hand, by having a higher fire rate, we could, we can pack fewer launchers. More launchers is better because you can oversaturate the defense, but, I'll stick with rate 2. So this is going to be our size 6 missile launcher. It's a ship-based system with standard size and reload. Not a whole lot going on there. I'm not even giving a company name because it's going to be boring. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to make a size 1 version, which is going to be exactly the same sort of setup, and we're going to create that. So that's a couple of quick little projects there, and what we can do is go to the missile and kinetics weapon, and choose our launchers, and choose a scientist. You know what? We'll have them work side by side, because I think we already have a guy. Can I not? Oh, I don't have any lab stuff. No. Because we're working on this. Right. Okay, then we'll just go ahead and queue. Q and Q. And let me remove some labs over here and add some over there. I didn't actually realize we were getting the next missile rate. Hold on. Do we want to fire at rate 3? No, you know what? Cancel this. Ethan, it's fine. And I think to put everything back in the queue as well. Just get my launchers going. Reload rate of 2 is hopefully going to be sufficient. I don't know. Skip ahead. And design view. I think both launchers just finished, didn't they? That's the dead meat. Nope, just the first one. I should put them in a different order. That's okay. There we go. Size 6 is done. All right. So the Edo. You are going to grab the size 6 missile launcher. We don't have magazines designed either. God, there's always something else. So, because I got rid of the old one, because we've got somewhat better magazine technology over here. So the magazine size is how much affects its capacity, and we use, I think XP20. No, that's the explosion chance. We don't have the ratio shown here. Oh, magazine system efficiency. So because we have a magazine size of 1, we have a certain amount of possible capacity. 15% of that possible capacity goes to the actual loading system, which leaves us with 17 capacity over here. So we have size 6 missiles, so this would only be able to fit 2 missiles, because the third one wouldn't actually fit in there. So that's not going to be any good. We could go for the multiple of 6, that makes the math easy. Doesn't it? Actually, no, it doesn't, because that's not how it works, because of the efficiency. So 102 capacity divided by 6 would mean we'd be able to haul around 17 missiles. Oh, which totally makes lots of sense, actually. And actually, we'd have an 18th. We'd have one extra missile in every launcher as well. So our launchers would have one missile, and we'd have 17 reloads. That's probably lots. We can fire one every 90 seconds. I mean, that's a fair amount of firepower. We can always put more than one magazine as well. So you know what? Let's go ahead and just design this. That's going to be fine. Again, I'll just create you without a name because I'm being boring. And this magazine system will be sufficient for all of our types of dudes. So this is under missiles and kinetic weapons. There we go. We're going to research this magazine. And just skip ahead until it's done, which shouldn't take long. There. Finished. So go back to the Edo, grab the magazines. We might have to refresh the tech. Magazines, there we go. Throw you in. We're only at 2,800 tons, which is not much. I'm going to want extra missile launchers. The other thing worth noting is the PPV over here. So that's the planetary protection value. When we start building these ships, that will placate the population on the moon and Mars. So let's go ahead and throw... There we go. We're closing in on our target size. We've got engines on, right? Engine speed seems to be good. Oh, we haven't added extra layers of armor. How much are we going to do here? Well, our own missiles only penetrate 3 layers of armor. So if we have at least 3, then one missile can't hit our internal systems. We do want to protect probably against a couple of shots in a row. Plus, who knows, they might have more powerful stuff. Plus, they might be using beams. I think I'm going to go with like 8 layers thick. Technically, this is a setup that could soak 2 of the firepower that we have. We could hit the same spot twice in the ship and not penetrate. We're at 5,400 tons. I'm going to back it up just a bit then. If I added another magazine... No, we don't need more magazines. We can tell it to build the ship with the missiles already ready. So I'm going to pick the size 6 missiles. I'm going to use like the times 10 multiplier here. We'll get an error because the ship can only have 22 missiles. I'll have 1 missile in every missile launcher plus 17 extras in the magazine ready to go with the reload. So that will make sure we have the missiles pre-set up in our ship when we build our ship. 5,200 tons. Range, only 4.6 billion. I think that is way too low of a range. We don't need super high range. I think I'm going to feel comfortable at about 22 billion. That increases our weight, but we're still in the 5,000 to 6,000 ton range, which I'm happy. We lost a little bit of speed, but I don't think we can afford to put another... If we put another engine on, it would definitely put us sort of above our space budget. Not that we can't build ships that big. It's just, that's not what I'm looking to do. If I was a little bit worried about speed, I could strip off a missile launcher. I could go with 4 times missile launchers. So it's got the fire control system, it's got the missile launcher, it's got the magazine. We might want to have a pair of things, but I don't know. I think this is going to be all right. If I got rid of a missile launcher... Oh, see, that works out really nicely, just math-wise. I think this will be a little confused because we can only fit 21. There we go. So now we're at almost exactly 4,000 kilometers a second, and I can remember that. So we've got a 5,000-ton ship that moves at 4,000 kilometers a second. It's got the quad launchers. It's got a decent amount of armor plating, and I think that was all our design for the ship really called for. Oh, we don't have a CIWS. Hold on, we need that. That means that's something else for us to design. So, I think it's the close-in weapon system. This is something that will help give us point-blank defense against incoming missiles. It can only track at 5,000 kilometers a second. So, anything faster than this... So, anything that moves at this speed... and is within 16,000 kilometers. Doesn't actually report that down here, but I believe that is true. We will have a 50% chance to hit. The problem is enemy missiles could come in at twice this rate, which won't have our chance to hit. It'll just crush it completely. I think we need... Do we need more fire control speed rating? Or more just turret tracking? That's interesting. It doesn't actually change the stats if I change the turret tracking speed. It's just multiplying this by 4, so we need more fire control speed rating, which is what, in the sensors? Fire control speed rating. Yes, indeed. George Jackson, we're going to queue up another job after you're done those missiles. Actually, I don't suppose we have another good sensor person. Not quite as good. Okay, George, You're going to max out on your labs. Hardly going to make a difference on this project, but it'll make a bigger difference on the next project. Just this one won't make a difference because you're almost there. So let's skip ahead a couple of ticks of 5 days. You'll finish that missile fire control. And then that's only going to take you, yeah, no time at all. No time at all for the fire control speed rating. And then I'm going to see what that does for us. Okay, that's done. So now if we go back into our design view, CIWS. Yeah, okay, so it's 4 times whatever this is. Now we're starting to get into the vicinity, but it would probably, I mean, if we're going to design it, we probably want to design it right. So let's research one more level of that. And then I think I'll be pretty satisfied. And that's not going to take very long either, especially not with 55 labs allocated to it. There we go. 1 month. And then another 5-day tick. All right. CIWS. So now we track missiles that go about 12,000 kilometers per second, which is in line with our own technology. So presumably, hopefully, we won't see anything worse than that. So we can defend ourselves against effectively our own missiles, which makes me feel pretty comfortable. So CIWS 120, that's representative of the speed that we're designed to track. We'll fire 2 shots every 5 seconds. Okay. Create that, and then we actually have to research, because we have to research everything. That would be under missiles and kinetic weapons. Research the CIWS. Max labs that you can do it. Excellent. And then I think we can just allocate the rest of the labs to Bethany over here so that she can get us more research speed in the future. This is just going to take 1 5-day tick to finish that. Excellent. Go back to our ship design. So our Edo over here, we would like to add, I need to hit refresh tech. We should have CIWS somewhere in here. Non-laser energy weapon. Bam. So we're at 5.5 tons, and our speed did drop to 3,600 kilometers a second. But we need the CIWS. I want that missile protection on every single one of my ships. I think I'm going to stick with this design. So that's going to be fine. Yeah, I'm okay with that. And we're going to start producing these right away. So we've got lots of armor. Well, hopefully lots of armor. I don't know. We've got the CIWS. We have our fire control system and our anti-ship missiles. And that's it. That's it. That's all. All right. Let's start building these ships. And again, our shipyards do have the capacity to build something bigger than that, but we're not going to do that. The Sarvoth. Oh, I'm going to get you to build the dead meat first, because I want the shipyard with 2 slipways here to be the one that is producing our actual destroyer units. We could have started that quite a bit sooner and actually have more time for more technologies now. And right, I just wasted a month without using all of my research labs. Grr. Well, you know what? That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and, I mean, we already have a construction production person doing work, but I'm going to have people do side by side. Next thing we're going to do is try to get our next level of ship building rate. That way we can build ships at a more appreciable rate. So use 15 labs to do that. That's going to be fine. Under power and propulsion, actually, we'd have time to research some more jump drive tech, which would be handy for the command ships that we're about to start designing. So let's get started on that. Okay. I'm just waiting for the dead mate to finish. There we go. Deadmate is done. We'll also check on Mars momentarily. But Sarvoth shipyards, you are going to retool. You are going to start building destroyers for us. Big expensive retooling. It's a big ship difference, but that's going to be fine. So that's going to happen there. The Tobman Marine is going to be responsible for building, alternatively, the our command ship and the escorts. We might do something like build 2 command ships and then 2 escorts or something like that. The command ship is going to be handy to keep around because they can tow anyone through a jump gate, which is going to be really nice. The other thing is, Earth can maintain automatically ships in orbit of up to 1,000 tons. I'm going to bring that up to 5,000 tons. I think that every maintenance facility does and adds an extra couple of thousand tons. So we're going to add 3 of them. I think that will bring us up to 7,000 ton capacity, which is going to be enough for all of our ships if they're just parked around Earth orbit, that they get automatically maintained and won't get broken down. We're going to see. I think that's true. Not positive. Dead meat. Dead meat, you are here. I'm going to go ahead and First of all, you need to be renamed, because I didn't name you properly. You're going to be renamed to just the dead meat, period. There we go. And if I close this and reopen it so that your name is proper, there it is. I'm going to detach you into your own task group. So your orders are going to be as follows. You are going to survey the nearest survey location. Those are the jump points. And if ever, and I'm going to actually give you a pretty conservative one, 40% fuel. If you ever run below 40%, well, no, you get insane range. I forgot about that. These new engines are insane. So less than 30% refuel at a colony. So now the dead meat is going to go to these various jump points around the system. Right over here. It's going to go to jump point 2 first. Maintenance facilities already completed on Earth. That was fast. Maybe I got my math off. Oh, each one is 200 tons, not 2,000 tons. Okay. So every 5 is 1,000. And we want to bring this up. At this point, we just need another 4 of those. So 20 more. Okay. And then maybe a few more depending on how big our command and escort ships end up being in practice. But that'll be a good start. So he's going to move over to this jump survey point. He's going to scan it, just like the planets before. He's going to need 330 hours. But once he finishes, let me skip 30 days at a time. Either this point will go away because there's nothing exciting, and there wasn't anything exciting on this one. And what's going to happen is, eventually we will find some jump points here, and we can use a jump drive to go through there and find another system and find more rocks. We're moving there, folks. Just taking a little while, but it's going to get there. I think I might advance a little bit at this point just to get our designs cranked out. A few more things here and there, but it's not going to take that long. See you next time, folks. Bye-bye.